It's a beautiful morning. Not too hot yet. But we're up early. I have places to go today. Definitely gonna need a lot of that. Good morning. I told my husband when I got out of bed today, I'm gonna need a nap. It's one of those mornings. Lots to do though. I was up really late editing a video, and in fact, I left a video processing when I went to bed last night. So computer was open this morning. I finished the video that's gonna go live today. And then I also had finished editing the video for next week. So I don't have to do any more for that, but oh my goodness, a little tired. I also changed the color of my nails yesterday after cleaning on Thursday and then just wear and tear, throughout the rest of the week. I thought it's time for a refresh. I'm gonna need them painted before tomorrow. I like to do a combination of colors. This one's looking a little more red on camera, but this is the KB Shimmer Give Me the Scoop. I love this, but on the nail, it almost, because it's like a trio chrome, it almost looks like you're not wearing nail polish. And then, oh, there's the nail polish. Oh, it's like a gray kind of look in there. So I topped it with a coat of Tink from Zoya. So you're seeing mostly this color, but I don't know if you can see all the rest of the beautiful shimmer in there. So anyway, and then I also needed to plug in my little mini iPad because today we're gonna be doing a mini Q&A while I put makeup on. We're gonna see if I can do two things at once. So I need to have access to all of your questions so I can reference those as I'm putting makeup on. My sunscreen of choice today, it would help if I put the label out. The Tower 28, this is new to me. S.O.S. Save Our Skin, SPF 30. Something like this is fine for me when I'm walking, and it has a little bit of a tint to it, but I needed a little more glow since I've got some sunless tanner on. So I added a little bit of the Naked Sundays bronzing. And then for my arms and neck, good old Kapari Sun Glaze Sheer Body Mist SPF 42. I love this. It smells so good. And it makes your skin just glow. I'm sure this is probably not bug friendly, or it is bug friendly, but I don't care today. So I'm gonna go get this girl right here. Crazy girl. You ready to go for a walk, huh? I'm gonna go get her harnessed up, get her leash, get her out so we can get back and get going. I don't have pockets in my leggings I'm wearing today, so I'm not gonna be able to take my phone with me, but you know the path. It's the same path. Okay, come, sit. Okay, we'll be back. Gotta eat my breakfast, get my coffee going, and head to the shower because I have a ladies' luncheon today and it's early. So I gotta make sure my stomach's partially empty, right? So I'm gonna get going. But at the makeup table today, I'm gonna bring you all along and I'm gonna be answering your questions. So it'll be kind of like you're sitting across the table from me and we're having a conversation. So let's get to it. Okay, we are gonna rush through my makeup today. I will try to show you everything that I'm using, but I want to try and get to as many of your questions as possible. And I may have to cut this short because I have to pick up somebody on our way to, we have a ladies' luncheon for church and I'm in charge, so I can't be late. But we're gonna dive right in here. And the first question, I tried to organize the questions kind of in order or group them together if I can. So first of all, best eye cream for dry under eyes. One of the top recommendations I have, if you have access or if you can find them, the Pacifica, these are like reusable gel under eye patches. You can put them over any eye cream and you don't leave them on overnight, but you put them on and it really helps the absorption of your eye cream under your eyes. So I will see if I can find those and list those down below. The next group of questions: what is your skincare routine? Your skin looks really well cared for. Of course, diet, health habits come into the picture, but what are your everyday habits? So I do have a full skincare routine that I will link down below. I just did one recently, but thank you for your sweet compliments. I went through, well, all into my 30s. I had horrible skin. So I always got in the habit of washing my face every night. I think that is the first thing you need to do. You must wash your face at night, cleanse off all the makeup, all the dirt. And in the morning, you need to do at least a kind of micellar water or something gentle. Cleanse your face, moisturize, and make sure you find a good sunscreen that you enjoy and don't mind applying. And I think sunscreen has really helped, because I was starting to get dark spots. Like, I still have one that's real light. And as long as I am good with sunscreen, it does not come kind of forward. So I think moisturizing, hydrating the skin, even though I had super oily skin, I still always used a lightweight moisturizer. And I know that made a huge difference. And of course, the sunscreen, I love mineral sunscreen. You don't have to do chemical sunscreen. There are a lot of great formulas now that work under makeup. So I'll link my skincare routine below though for more details. And drinking lots of water. You hear that all the time, but I do notice if I am deficient in my water intake, my skin does get a little extra dry. How and when did you and your best friend meet? My best friend Erin, who has been on here several times, we met our senior year of high school. She showed up at a volleyball camp. She had just transferred to our school, and it was really hard for her. I mean, nobody wants to change schools your senior year, but we just clicked right away. We became buddies, and even though she didn't finish the volleyball season, she got involved in basketball, but we just kind of became really great buddies. We found out that we had so much in common, and we ended up working one of our first kind of major jobs together. It was at Promise Keepers. We worked there together for, I think, 3.5 years. And so we worked together. We went to singles groups together. And I mean, she got married about 1.5 years before I did. And then of course we moved out here to California, and it's been work, but we still work to keep our friendship alive. Where in Colorado are you from? And where did you live? How long have you been a Christian? By the way, I just applied the Gucci foundation. This is one of the longest wearing. We'll get to this in a moment of why I applied that. Back to the question. I am originally from Littleton and Lakewood area of Colorado is where I grew up. And then my husband and I lived in Aurora before we moved out to California. If you're familiar at all with Colorado, you'll know those towns. If not, the Denver metro area. That's where I'm from. Lived there until we moved to California 22 years ago. I've been a Christian. I became a Christian when I was 6 years old. My mom shared the gospel with me. Of course, we had been in church and Sunday school, but it was her that, I prayed to receive Christ. But it really, I believe that salvation is a process. Like, that was just the starting point. And I think it's really important that you continue to grow. So I feel like there were stages all throughout my years of growing up, high school, special chapels, working for a Christian organization, getting involved in ministries has really helped further grow my relationship with the Lord. A related comment to question said, how did you meet Jesus? The fruit of the Spirit comes across in your videos and the way you treat others. And I really appreciate that. That's been one of my top goals with my YouTube channel, and just the way that I live my life. I know some people feel called to be out on a street corner preaching. That's not my style. My style is more of kind of how I live my life and treat others. And the fruit of the Spirit, some of you may not know, I did a eyeshadow palette collaboration. This is my eyeshadow palette I'm using today. I did this with Dalton, and the names of the shadows are all based on the fruit of the Spirit. So, and just a little side note, you may not know, my husband is a pastor, and we'll get to how we met and all of that, but one of the biggest teachings he has had about the fruit of the Spirit is that word fruit is singular. It's not fruits of the Spirit. So these 9 pieces of one, they make up one fruit. So we're to have all 9 pieces in our one fruit of the Spirit. So just a little teaching there I passed on from my hubby. So the question about how did my husband and I meet? Let's see, where is it? I would love to hear the story of how you and your husband met. When I was working for this Christian organization called Promise Keepers, I was working with somebody who knew my husband for years and knew that he was single. And so he would tell me, oh, I have this wonderful guy named Guy. My husband's name is Guy. And he's like, you should meet him. And I said, okay. Well, he tried to arrange a couple of group outings, and I was not able to come to the 2 that he arranged. And so then my husband, being the guy that he is, he was like, well, just give me your phone number. I'll call her, ask her out. Our friend was like, no, I got to introduce you. So lo and behold, I was visiting a church outside of Boulder with a friend of mine that I worked with. And she said, hey, I think that's the guy that Greg had been trying to set you up with, our friend, because she had already met him. And I was like, really? Why would he be all the way up here? Sure enough, he saw me, and he had seen pictures of me from our work travels. When I traveled with our work, there was a group of us that would do travels and stuff together. And so he had seen pictures, he knew what I looked like. And so after church, he came and introduced himself. But it was still several weeks before I was at work one day. I worked for a very large telecommunications company, and I pick up the phone. The receptionist or operator had a call transfer for me, and it was Guy. He had looked up my company's phone number and did the work to try and get to me and asked me out. We had our first date in February, and we got married in September. And he was 35, I was 25, but we both had done our fair share of dating. We knew what we wanted and knew that it was right when we met and got to know each other. So that's how we met. Oh, the next question is, what made you and your husband decide to move from Colorado to California? Because my husband is also a native Coloradan, and it was the ministry. So he had already been to seminary. He had worked on staff at a church outside of Denver. But when I met him, he was a stockbroker for Charles Schwab. He said, just so you know, I'm called to the ministry. And I'm like, well, that's okay. I play the piano, right? That used to be the qualifications back in the day, right? For a pastor's wife, she had to be able to play the piano. So that was kind of our little joke. But about a year after we had, actually even less than a year after we had been married, he felt like it was time for him to start pursuing a pastorate. And initially we thought we were going to move to Leota, Kansas. And we were deep into the process with that and just felt all of a sudden like tons of doors shutting. One of them being our house was not selling, and there were just lots of things happening. So long story short, we were told about this tiny little church out here that was kind of on its last leg. And, you know, if we were interested, I'm sure that, you know, they would love to have us. So we flew out on a weekend in October, and it was kind of like they wanted an answer right then. So my husband and I are out in the parking lot praying about this decision while the congregation is inside voting. We said, well, we feel like this is where we're supposed to be. So, you know, let's do it, you know? And so, they voted unanimously to call us, and we moved out the following February, and miraculously, the night that we were going to drive out here, our house had not sold, but we still felt we were supposed to come. And the night we were leaving, we packed up our cars to come out here, and we were gonna just bring the furniture when it sold. That night, we got an offer on our house. So, and we've been here for 22 years. We said we'd be here for 5, and here we are, 22 years later. There's a later question that says, can you see yourself ever leaving California? Yes. There's a lot of great things about where we live. I think a lot of people assume California is LA, and California is so huge that you can go lots of places in California, and it's very different. So I know on the news, all of basically what you all see is LA, San Francisco, that kind of thing. But you know, there's a lot of great things about Southern California, but I personally really don't like the heat. So after my husband retires, we may look into moving somewhere, but we have no idea where. You know, most of my family has moved out of Colorado. Guy still has 2 brothers there, and we do still have, you know, lots of contacts, but Colorado has changed a lot. So I really, honestly, we talk every once in a while, like, where would we want to live? We really don't know. We do love the western slope of Colorado. That is a beautiful area. If we could afford to live there, that might be an option. But I mentioned the heat, and oh my goodness, I am so sorry for all of you in London. I have two of you who have reached out and said, Sharalee, first of all, how did we stand the heat, or how do we stand the heat? I should say present tense, because we're in the midst of it right now. So these questions, it's sweltering in London no matter how good my makeup looks. First thing, it has melted by lunchtime. Touching up, powdering is vital. How do you do this without turning into a cakey mess? And then the other person said, it's getting hotter and hotter with killer summers. I know you live in a hot, dry part of California and wondered how you get through the day. How does your makeup last? What tips do you have for keeping cool? Is any one particular foundation better than another? How do you powder without it looking cakey? So I thought I would combine all of that to say, first of all, it does take some getting used to. So when we first moved here, I don't know in London if you all have air conditioning, because I know there's certain parts of Colorado, you just didn't put air conditioning in. You went to the basement in the summer. People didn't have air conditioning. So if you don't have air conditioning, bless your hearts. I would say one thing that we do, even though we have air conditioning, it cools off at night almost the whole summer here. And so what we found is we wait until the temperature drops to like about 72 Fahrenheit. I don't know what that is in Celsius. And then we open up the windows, and we purchased a long time ago a huge, like really powerful industrial fan, and put that in the window to draw in the cold air overnight. Then as soon as you get up in the morning and it starts to get warm, you close up the windows. Don't leave the windows open. I know some people are like, but isn't it supposed to be cooler? No, it's only going to make your house hotter. So close it up, close your blinds, keep the sunshine out of certain areas. If you have direct sunshine, you don't want that in your house. Checking the time here. And then we do, right now we use air conditioner, about mid-afternoon and evening, we need our air to kick in until it cools off outside. The other thing I did when we first moved here, our air conditioner was really poor. performing at our other house, our first one. And so it was good because I was a crafter and we had a brand new Michael's Arts and Crafts store. And so I would go in the hottest time of the day to that store. And I mean, I would find some little something to buy, but I would wander around the store for about an hour or two and, you know, looking at things. And it was the best air conditioner in the town, and I would literally be freezing by the time I left. So it would help kind of cool my core temperature down. So I did that quite often on the really bad days because, like I said, our air conditioner in our house was not great. At nighttime sleeping, you gotta have a fan on you. You might, you know, rinse off with a cool shower before you get in bed. And I mean, that fan blowing, air circulating really helps. As far as internally, you can also, we started drinking fruit smoothies at night for dinner. And I tell you what, when your inside is cooled off, it also really helps. So get lots of ice, start thinking of iced drinks, iced fruit smoothies, those kinds of things that will help. Now, as far as makeup goes, I told you I would tell you why I was using this Gucci foundation. This one's expensive, of course, but this, I really only need one pump of that foundation and it covers my whole face. So I have had this for a long time and I only use it at special occasions, but you want a formulation like that. This one sets down and dries. Like if it's on my palette, it will completely dry and I have to like scrape it off. So you want a foundation formula that is going to set and dry. Your skin prep, you still want to use a little moisturizer, but maybe lighten up on your moisturizer, lighten up on the layers under your foundation, keep your foundation layer thin. That is also helpful. And I am actually coming around to the side of a good setting spray is really the key to making your makeup last. So if you've not overdone the moisture under your foundation and you're applying a matte or semi-matte long wearing foundation, the Dior Forever Matte, I know those are expensive. The Maybelline Super Stay Skin Tint, that is a great one. I don't know if you have that in London. You want something like that that is long wearing, and then using a good setting spray. And I am in the process of testing. I know that doesn't help you right now at the moment, but I am testing out a ton of setting sprays. I just bought one yesterday. This is supposed to be the best, so I'll let you know. But I do find the Charlotte Tilbury one, so far that in my book is one of the longest lasting. Really helps your makeup stay in place. The other thing is I would limit the number of cream products. So you can see I am using a bunch of powder products and powder. Now you can layer, if you've got time, you have a special event, you're gonna wanna layer a cream bronzer, powder your skin, then do a powder bronzer. That is the way to really making sure everything lasts. As far as during the day, how do you touch up without things getting cakey? The biggest tip that I have, I learned from Lisa Eldridge, who is right there in London with you all. And I never even thought about this, but before you powder, you want to blot your face. And you don't, I mean, you can do blotting papers, but if you don't have them, you want to take a tissue and you actually want to peel the tissue away. So you have the thinnest 1-ply tissue and just press that into your oily areas. And the thinness of that is going to make sure you don't remove the makeup. It just absorbs the oil. Then go in with a translucent powder. Like I just used the NYX Mineral Matte. This has some color to it. You don't want color for your touch-up powder. The Nikia Joy, her pressed version of powder, this is a great touch-up powder. It's translucent. It's not going to add color, because when you add color, that's when you get cakiness. And then also, back in the day, and I still find this to be a great touch-up powder, the Bare Minerals Original Mineral Veil Powder. That is a great one. Also, without any color, that is one that absorbs oil without getting cakey. So those are my top tips. And I want to say I'm sorry because you didn't sign up for that climate. I mean, for us out here, we know this is coming every year, and just know that it will end, and keep your activities inside, you know. I learned long ago, there's no point in trying to force myself to go do yard work in the middle of the day. That's just not going to work. All right, then I had 2 people and more actually say, I really enjoy your videos. I would love to see a day in the life video. I would love to see a day in the life video. I would love to see a day in the life video. So I hope that you all have tuned in for this whole week of day in the life videos. If you have not, I will link up here a playlist of this entire week and then the other ones I've done. So I decided, it had been about 2.5 years ago, I think I did a day in the life, or I did a week-long vlog, and I thought, you know, let's try that again. So I hope you're enjoying this. And one of the questions was, you wanted included in the day in the life video is kind of what I eat in a day. And I have tried to include a lot of that in this kind of week of videos. Oh, I need to add a little, hold on. I need to add just a little touch of something here. My under eyes. I did not get good sleep last night. Let's just add a tiny bit more of hydration here. Okay, I'm going back in with this. I talked about this yesterday in my vlog video. So update there in case you didn't hear me talk about my possible change of mind with this powder just for under the eyes. So back to the eating. I've shared quite a few of my kind of normal routine. I have very boring eating habits. I have learned along the way, a long time ago, I got to the point where I was eating the same thing for breakfast every morning because I really am not hungry in the morning, typically, except now that I'm walking a dog, I come back hungry. But I personally feel like breaking the fast works well for me and my body type, but I don't really want to have to think about it. So I just do a half a protein bar. I have done that for like 20 years. And then recently, they call it decision fatigue. So if you have been trying to stick with a diet and your meal planning and all of that, and you're just frustrated. I read an article that said sometimes that's due to decision fatigue, like you're constantly trying to decide what you're going to eat. So more recently, I have gotten also in the habit of just rotating a couple of lunches into my routine, and you will have seen those this week. And then dinners around here are pretty light. Maybe 2 times a week, my husband and I will actually eat maybe something together. He has a very different schedule because we have dogs at the church. So he's over there back and forth 7 days a week, and he goes over there around dinner time to feed them. So we have a very different schedule, and we don't have kids. So it's not that important for us to sit down around the table, you know. So I many times when I am choosing what to eat for dinner, again, I gave you some of the options, and sometimes I just want popcorn and fruit, or popcorn and, you know, cheese. I know the thing right now is all this protein and protein and protein. I'll just tell you my experience personally. Again, that gets exhausting, and my body type, certain things for me personally, I can't handle a ton of protein. So don't let social media and all this stuff tell you exactly what you need to eat. I actually feel like your body kind of helps you know, because I don't crave meat very often, especially red meat. I do eat, I love a good steak once in a while, but most of the time, like if somebody were to say, hey, Shirley, I'll fix you steak and, you know, vegetables every night for dinner, I'd be like, oh, no thanks. Even chicken, oh, sometimes I'm like, no, the last thing I want is, you know, baked chicken. And then other times, I mean, sign me up for chicken parmesan or, you know, a really good juicy piece grilled chicken. So I just feel like, you know, my body knows what it needs when it needs it. And I also am a believer in a little bit of everything in moderation. So there you go. But again, I did include a bunch of that in these day in the life videos. Okay, let me give you a couple more and then I gotta scoot and do my hair and get out the door, and then I'll come back and finish some of these later. Oh, related to the day in the life, two more. One was cleaning. Again, let's see, 2 days ago, my Thursday vlog, if you missed that, I went through my whole cleaning routine, and then I'll show you, I'll also link my other cleaning vlog that I did. I am a germaphobe, I'll just admit it, so I don't do any of this fluff stuff. I mean, I do like baking soda and vinegar, I know that's good, but I like to kill germs, so you're gonna see germ killing products in that video. As far as another one with day in the life was your spiritual kind of routine, and I do feel it's important every day, if you can, to spend time in God's word. And I do talk about that. I think it was yesterday. I have really grown to appreciate audibly listening to the Bible. There's some great apps. YouVersion app is the one I use, and listening to the Bible. And then additionally, of course, I go to church on Sundays, and we have a weekly church Bible study as well, which I think is also so important if you can find a good group to get plugged in that's studying the Bible. I always crack up when somebody says, I'm going to a Bible study and we're reading such and such a book. I'm like, the Bible has 66 books to study. And I mean, my husband has preached through every book in the Bible, and some of them multiple times, and there's still stuff in there that you'll learn every time. So find a good Bible study that really helps you dig in verse by verse, and I would really encourage that aside from your daily personal study. The one area of my life, I am not perfect. I really could use more time in just concerted prayer. I find myself praying throughout the day for things as things come to mind. But as far as really just sitting down, spending good time in prayer, that's another thing I really need work on. So just, you know, keeping it real here, right? Now, a couple of fun things since I'm at the makeup table. Have you ever wanted to throw out all of your makeup or donate it and start all over? I have to say yes. I mean, every once in a while, because I've seen people do that on here, and I'm like, wow. But the thought of having to start all over, you know, it's like, ooh, maybe I wouldn't want to throw it all out or donate it all. But yeah, there are times where I just get to that point. And when I do go through my makeup and really take stock of what is it I'm really using. And I do donate. I have a list of people, depending on what it is, how loved and used it is, or brand new. There's some women's groups that a neighbor of mine is a part of that really appreciate donations. My hairstylist friends, family, I used to send stuff to my mom because she was always like, hey, I'll take stuff. So depending on what it is, my dear friend Debbie, she has teenage girls who have friends. So yes, I do when I get in that mode. That's what I like to do. And then somebody else said, if you had to throw out all your makeup except for 3 products, what would be the 3 products you keep? Do you know, like that would be like torture, you know? So, This would be really hard. So I guess if I were allowed to still keep my skincare and it was just makeup products, I would definitely keep mascara, some kind of lip cheek product, and powder, I guess. Oh, that would be really hard because I would use my skincare, my sunscreen. Like if I could keep my Color Science sunscreen, for example, if I could keep that and use that as my base product, because I really need coverage and I just don't feel like myself if I don't have coverage, and it helps my skin just stay looking nice through the day. So I would need something like that as my non-makeup item. And then because I just have such wimpy, or I should say such blonde lashes, mascara, and I always need something on my lips. And then, yeah, that third one, oh boy, I actually think it might be powder. As far as specifically which ones, I mean, the It Cosmetics Superhero Mascara, for sure. Lips, cheeks, boy, I would be open to lots of different options, just something that would work for both. And then powder-wise, I'm kind of in the midst of trying to figure out a good powder. So I don't know if you were looking for specific products, but there you go. There's the general gist of what I would do. Okay, I'm going to cut this off here. I have a couple more things to finish up, run out the door, go to the ladies' luncheon. I may include a few little clips from that, and then I will come back, and there's a few more questions I want to address, so I'll come back and we'll finish up this mini Q&A session. Hello, YouTube. Here we are, the ladies of the church. We're partying it up. Lunch is over. It is about 1:15 and now I'm at the church. I'm gonna practice music with my husband because if you remember on Wednesday, he wasn't able to make practice, and he plays guitar along with our congregational singing. So a couple of the songs he is a little less familiar with, so we're gonna run through those. I'm gonna go through my songs that I need to be practicing for tomorrow, and then I think I get to go home to my puppy, and I'm probably gonna take a nap today. I'm so tired. But here's the finished makeup look. I just applied gloss after eating, but my lip combination, I actually really loved how it came together. I ended up using the Nabla lip liner, and what is the shade? Oh, let's see. It's nude number 3.5. And then I pulled out a Lisa Eldridge lipstick that I had forgotten all about that I really love. It's so pretty, but I'm not always brave enough to wear it. And look how bright that is. But mixed with the lip liner, and then I added just a touch of a coral lipstick, but I really didn't need to. So the combination of this and the lip liner were great. And now I just have a little gloss on with what was left. So it's really hot though. I'm gonna go in the church, get some practicing done. Just thought I would give you a view. This is the going into my neighbor's yard. Doesn't she just do such a great job with all of her flowers? These are ours. And here's our red carpet roses, lantana, the crepe myrtle. Those were the last to bloom. And then we are getting a few. These are iceberg roses. Our Mexican sage is about toast, so it will bloom again though. Go all the way down there. We're gonna do an outfit of the day. Here we go. Here is the completed outfit. This is what I went to lunch in. Super lightweight dress, even though it's not super hot today. So it was not as bad as I thought it was gonna be, but now I'm going to go get comfy clothes on. because I have a little more work to do, but I also want to take a nap, and this isn't exactly napping outfits. This is what happens when Mama tries to take a nap. Did you let your Mama take a little nap? A little snooze? She woke me up when she decided it was time for Mom to get up. Didn't you? Yes. No precious girl. Oh, a little flat hair here. Nap hair. Yes. Well, good afternoon. Actually, it's almost early evening. It's a little after 5. I laid down and Gracie at first was not gonna let me take a nap, but she did finally let me take about an hour and like 15-minute nap or so. And then she decided that was enough. And she like starts pawing my head and be like, Mom, it's time to get up. I'm not usually a regular napper, but every so often I just have to lay down. If you know, you know. And nothing wrong with napping. My husband's a great believer in napping, but I always feel like it takes me a while after I've taken a nap to get going again. So I, just usually have too much to do. But technically, I know they say a good nap, you should only nap for like 20 minutes. That doesn't do much for me. I gotta fall asleep and take a good one. So I did. I got up and I was fluffing my hair in the bathroom, and my hair has just been a little extra dry and frizzy. I'll be talking about that in an upcoming video. Actually, it's probably already posted by the time this goes up. And I got something new since I filmed that video. It's the balm, and it's the hair nourishment balm. And this is like a treatment that you put on before you wash your hair. But I have been experimenting just using a little bit of it like at the end of the day. I'm putting it on the ends of my hair, and I just put a little bit here. This part was getting a little frizzy, and I just added a touch of it through here and touched the ends. And it's like it miraculously kind of helped my hair recover for today. So it looks better, and because I put that little added moisture, just a little bit on the ends, it's going to continue to moisturize my hair until I wash it tomorrow. So if you've got dry hair and frizzy hair, because I had some frizz, if you go back to the, post-nap little video, you'll have seen, but I think it's pretty cool. So here it is. And it has a couple, some essential oils in with the beef tallow, and it smells very much, you can smell the rosemary and lavender. Is there a lavender in here? Yes. Bergamot, lavender, rosemary, and other things. So it's a lot softer than her normal balm. So anyway, all right. I was trying to think, okay, what else do I have to do today? It's Saturday. Doesn't feel like Saturday. I've got to go do the bulletin. So let's go do the bulletin for church. And then I will finish answering some of the questions that you all asked. But I'm going to try to rapid fire answer a few of your final questions that I didn't get to this morning. So let's start off with a couple of makeup ones. What's the best eyeliner? Right now, I would say my top 3, Urban Decay 24/7 Glide On eye pencils, Charlotte Tilbury, the Rock and Kohl ones, and then, oh goodness, it's a toss-up between the Dalton Infinite eye pencils and the Revlon multiplayer eye pencils. So I would say those kind of 3, 4, those are my top favorites for long lasting, easy of glide on the eyes, and Urban Decay definitely has the best color selection. What's your go-to foundation? I would say, again, it depends on the day and the weather. In the wintertime, my go-to is the Dalton Doll Skin Genius with Reishi Mushroom. I love that foundation, and I still love it in the summertime. But when it's super hot, if I want something more matte, it's the Dior Forever Matte foundation. I still have some backups of the Bare Pro foundation, the original formula. That's in the mix as well. But I would say those other two, and then from the drugstore, my go-to has been the Maybelline Superstay 24-Hour Skin Tint. Back in the day, I made jewelry and sold on Etsy too. I wonder if we had shops at the same time. When did you sell there? What was the name of your shop? And would you show some of your items that were listed in your shop? So I did, boy, I don't actually think I ever sold on Etsy. I had a shop. It's Designs by Sharalee. I set it up, but I ended up doing my own website and handling it that way. Looking back, I probably should have paid the extra fee that Etsy offered and let them handle it. It would have been a little easier, and I do have still a ton of pieces. As far as would I share some of them, I actually do still wear them often in my videos. And I didn't grab any to bring in here, but my chunky silver necklace with the heart and the cross, that is one of my designs, one of my interchangeable ones. And that is one that I still receive the most compliments on. Interchangeable earrings and necklaces were one of the things I ended with, but I really still loved kind of mixing the gemstones. And actually, when I did the mixed gemstones designs, those were pretty much one of a kind. But the interchangeable jewelry, just keep an eye on the description box and you'll see kind of which earrings and things I still wear. Could you do a MAC dupes video, full face version? Yes, I think I have almost a full face of MAC products, so I will get to work on that. That would be a fun one to do. Do you have any recommendations for short, skimpy eyelashes other than false eyelashes? Those are not an option for me. The first thing that you want to make sure you're doing is pressing into the lash line. I don't recommend and don't do any more lining the waterline. However, if you take an eyeliner with a thin brush and press it top down into your lash line, into the roots and underneath your lashes. You can also do it with shadow, but an eyeliner is going to be more long lasting. Do that and that will make your eyelashes, your lash line at least look thicker. And then if you can do a mascara primer, like the Tartelette Tubing Mascara Primer, the Dior 4D Lash Primer and Serum, if you can do something like that, that actually has lash growth benefits in it, I think you might actually see a difference. I personally don't use any lash growth serums separate from my primer, but try a primer, try a mascara that has some lash growth. The It Cosmetics Superhero Mascara actually has lash growth properties in it too. So a couple of tips there. What made you decide to do these videos? Ooh, we're going way back. So I decided because of the number of times I would get stopped out in public about my hair, and I had the longer pixie style when I first started my channel. I would get stopped in the middle of the grocery store. Oh my goodness, how do you get your hair to stand up like that? Because I used to spike it in the back. I would always get all kinds of questions out in public from complete strangers. And as I was watching YouTube, I didn't see anybody on there with a pixie cut. And I thought, well, I would be happy to do a video because then I can tell people I meet in public, hey, go watch this video. It'll explain it. It'll show it. I mean, I would literally be in the store going, okay, you blow dry your hair upside down. I would tell them the product. So I thought, let's just do a video or 2 or 3 or 5 and occasionally do something that I might find helpful. So I started with hair tutorial, my very first one in 2016, and it's gone from there. I truly never planned on making a living at doing this. It was just for fun, something to be able to share kind of little tips that I found helpful along the way and I thought others might benefit from as well. Do you think one day you might put all your pixie hairstyles in a book and put it on the market to sell so all your subscribers could have it to show their hairstylists? What a great idea. I've honestly never even thought about that. So I'm not sure how I would go about it, but it definitely is worth pondering for sure, because I could see that could be very beneficial. Suppose you were only given $50 to spend on a full face of makeup at Ulta? Just $50, right? What would be your go-to products? Would love to see you take us on a shopping trip there. So $50 if I was trying to do a full face. I would be focusing my attention on Essence. Essence has some great, really affordable products. Essence, Wet n Wild, I would probably choose, and LA Girl. Those three brands would allow me, I think, I do like the Essence mascara. I would do LA Girl for eyeshadows. Also, Essence has some pretty good eyeshadows. So one of those two, eyeshadow primer. Foundation would probably be from Wet n Wild or Essence, probably Essence for cheek products, lip products. So I would say I would build a full face from that. Is there a job career that you thought about going into but didn't? I always wanted to be a hairstylist, believe it or not. Isn't that crazy? And I don't know why I didn't go for it, because it was certainly achievable. And I mean, I have always loved doing hair since I was a kid. I would beg my grandma, my aunt, my mom, let me do your hair. So I don't know why I never did, but that was a job or career that I wanted to do for most of my life. Every summer, I hope this will be the year you cut your hair super short. Will it ever happen? Well, I always laugh when I hear super short, because for a lot of people, this is super short. And for others, they're saying super short means a buzz cut. I'm not gonna do a buzz cut. And other than, I think this next salon visit, which actually I have a question of when is my next salon visit? And my next salon visit from filming of this video is in about a week and a half. So this next visit might be the shortest that I go this summer, because for one, it is the cut right before I'll get color. So I'll get color again in August, but also because I've been feeling like my ends are a little fried and a little frizzy. So this next cut could be the shortest I go this summer. So as far as how short that is, if that is your term of super short, we'll see. How is your sweet father making out? My dad is doing great. If you don't know, my mom passed away a little over a year ago, and my dad lives in Oklahoma. None of us kids live there, so we were all very concerned about him being by himself. But you know, he did a 13-week grief recovery workshop through his church. He got very involved with his church and is very involved now. Has really met a great group, a great support group of people. And so he is busier now than he ever was, doing wonderful things, you know, ministry, socializing. My dad's a Mr. Social Butterfly, if there is such a thing. So he is doing well. What was life like for you growing up? Wow, that's a pretty big question. Let's see. If I could summarize, I would say it this way. I grew up with two brothers, and we were so blessed to be able to have my mom stay at home with us for the most part. She did end up cleaning houses throughout a lot of years of my schooling just to bring in some extra income. My dad was an electrician, and we scrimped and saved to make ends meet. As kids, we grew up earning money no matter however we could. Raking leaves, shoveling snow. We always needed extra income, because I think other than maybe a brief time, like there was this little window where we actually got a little allowance. Other than that, we had no money to spend unless we earned it. So we earned our own way. We worked hard, even from being little kids growing up. We had to do chores. We couldn't watch much TV at all. I think it was like an hour or a half an hour in the evenings. You know, we had a tiny little black and white TV. I mean, you think about it now and I'm like, oh my goodness, our growing up was so different. We played outside. We, you know, played with friends. We played hide and go seek and tag, and we didn't have a Nintendo or a Mario Brothers or Atari or any of that. So it was just a very different world than we live in now. And, you know, the youngsters, it's kind of like, what? You know, you didn't have a computer, you didn't have a cell phone? No, but it was good. It was a good life. And, you know, again, our parents were very supportive. All of us played sports in high school. And one thing my parents did, felt like it was important for us to be able to go to a Christian school. So that was part of the reason why funds were really small and short, because we were putting those extra funds that we had towards Christian school. And I'm grateful. Met some of the best people and still friends with so many of those people today. So that's kind of a little summary. Yeah, that's a broad question. So we'll delve into that maybe more later. I never miss watching your videos. I'm by myself watching older ones over and over again, as I've always learned something. What are some videos you find yourself watching on a weekly basis? A couple of people that I follow regularly, Emily Noel, I still watch hers. I love hers. Lisa Eldridge, she doesn't post real often anymore, unfortunately, but I love her videos. Always learn stuff from her. You always seem so positive. What's your recipe for eliminating stress and anxiety? Take a nap, right? Get a massage. You saw me do that earlier this week. And you know, I did a whole video on how I like to relax. I haven't done my eye massaging routine, but I just try and find little things. Like for me, reading a book is a luxury. And so I'll take that activity and pair it with either sitting out by my fountain when it's not a gazillion degrees, going to the pool. We have a pool area. I'll go sit there, and actually I go just to read my book and listen to the sounds of nature. So sounds of nature for me is huge. Getting out for a walk every morning is so important for my mental health and physical as well. So getting outside, enjoying nature, and enjoying kind of a little activity like reading a book or something like that is also helpful. Products you use for your pixie cut and styling tips. So if you're new here, I have a whole playlist of pixie hair tutorials. I'll link that below this video. And I would say my go-to styling products are, and those of you who've followed forever, let's say it together: Enjoy Dry Wax, Catwalk Root Boost, and now Bedhead Hardhead Extreme Hold Hairspray. Those are probably my 3 styling products. And then of course I have leave-ins and heat protectants and different things I rotate in. But those 3, other than the Aussie Instant Freeze Hairspray, that was present in my first video. But the other 2, those were the Enjoy Dry Wax and Catwalk Root Boost, were featured in my very first hair tutorial. And check it out. Oh my goodness. That's kind of a funny video to watch. And we had Bojo was our dog, and he was even in that video. See, I started off the channel with a dog, and we still have a dog to this day. What texture hair do you have? What do you think is the trick to make it look piecey at your crown? I have very thick, coarse textured hair. The secret to pieciness right here is you need your hairstylist to give you more point cutting and or using thinning shears. If you pull this up and you just see a solid block of hair, that means your stylist needs to go in and take out some chunks like that. That's how you get that pieciness. Okay, and speaking of cut, somebody said, I would like exact, precise written instructions on how Kristen cuts her hair. I show my hair gal every new video. She still doesn't get it, sometimes not even close. I know hair and head are different, but actual steps are needed at this point, LOL. I honestly have not really thought about putting it down in writing, but I will attempt to do that. So my next salon visit video, I will put below in the description box, maybe more details as far as the length on each section, etc. So I'll try to remember to do that. And then let's see here, about your style, love your outfits. So apparently wanting to know more about my style, where I shop. So I'm pretty basic. I mean, I still get a Stitch Fix box every once in a while, usually around my birthday and Christmas. That's my husband's gift to me. If you're not familiar with Stitch Fix, I've done a couple videos on it, and I do have a link. It's a great, fantastic way to kind of get started in building a wardrobe. But ultimately, I love to shop at JCPenney's, and I love to shop at Kohl's. Now, there's specific brands. I love LC Lauren Conrad and Nine West from Kohl's. Those are my top 2 favorite brands. And then at JCPenney's, Liz Claiborne and the A&A Anna brand, I love their clothes. Those are probably my highest shopped places. I'll go into Marshall's and I'll randomly buy a shirt, you know, that I see up front, or a pair of pants. And I will randomly find a few things here and there on Amazon, but that's not typically where I get the bulk of my clothes. Okay, I think one more question, and it has to do with hair, which is appropriate, right? I've watched many of your videos, and you always show how you get volume to your hair after washing it, aka probably Root Boost products. What do you do the day after washing your hair when it needs a refresh? I do not wash my hair every day. I haven't done a lot of second day hair tutorials. I'm probably due to do another one. Thankfully, because of the texture of my hair and because of the products I use, be it Enjoy Dry Wax, I truly, the second day, can typically just scrub the crown of my hair a little bit, maybe add a tiny more Enjoy Dry Wax and hairspray and be good. Now, another product that I have used when my hair's longer and I am struggling with volume is I love to use a volumizing powder. And I'll pop up on the screen here my favorite one. Comes in a lighter weight one. I like the lighter weight one because it has an actual pump. It's not dry shampoo, but it's similar in that it is a actual powder. Now, I also have tried the one from Blind Barber, and I intend to show that in a video. Blind Barber's powder is also great. You just sprinkle a little bit of it into the root of your hair and scrub it in, and you'll feel a cooling sensation. It's drying up any oils, but it's not a dry shampoo. It just adds volume at the crown or wherever you need it. So I would say look into a powder, a volumizing powder product. And again, I don't do dry shampoo. I think, yeah, those make my head itch. But the two products I mentioned, those are the ones that I would recommend. So that, I think, wraps it up for this little mini tutorial. And it brings us to the end. Cry tears of this weekly vlog. If you have stuck with me all week long, thank you. And if you haven't, and this was the first day you saw, I hope you'll go back and watch some of the other days. Again, when I started this week, I was not intending to do like one day at a time. But as I got into each day, I thought, this is going to be a forever long video. Let's just break it up a little bit each day. And hopefully it helped you see a little bit of what goes on in my world here in Southern California on a daily and weekly basis. And as I said, you know, certain things change each week depending, you know, appointments here and there, maybe lunch with another group of friends, that kind of thing. But all in all, I feel like the basics that you saw today with church, with piano, with practice, with the puppy, she is a daily responsibility that I take seriously, and she does take a lot of time and love and care, but I'm happy to do it because she gives me lots of love back. So it's worthwhile. So thank you for coming along. Check the description box down below. I will try to leave links to the things for each video that you see all along the way. And I will put all of these vlogs in my playlist of vlogs, and I'll link that playlist here. So in case you missed any this week or the ones I've done in years past, you can click on that and watch. So thank you so much for being here. I appreciated it. It was fun to kind of carry you along with me. You know, my camera is you all. Carry you along with me throughout the week and everything. I'm like, oh wait, I gotta share this. Oh wait. So I hope that this was fun. And if it was, let me know. Give this video a thumbs up, give my vlogs a thumbs up, and that'll let me know that you want to see more vlogs in the future. Thank you so much for watching. Have a good night. Bye.